It's
Relax.
it's scrolling. Hello. Today, for the MECCA moment, we're going to be talking about single and sheltered. I am Dr. Mercedes Ebanks. I'm co-founder of the MECCA Group LLC. We are a psychological service agency located in Washington, D.C. Today, we have Monica Samuel. She is a therapist with the MECCA Group for over 4 years. She's been part of our team. She has a Master's of Science in Clinical Psychology from Howard University, and we welcome her. She has worked with many clients with an array of concerns. Currently, she is working with clients addressing feelings of isolation, loneliness, and anxiety. Welcome, Monica Samuel.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ebanks. I appreciate you inviting me. This is exciting.
So as we said, today's topic is speaking about single and sheltered. There's been a lot of focus and conversations about, and most of our segments have really been around parenting and being a parent and having to homeschool and balance that. Now we want to talk about another population, those that are single and at home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what are some of the concerns your single clients are expressing?
Yeah, I think that, and I really appreciate you doing this, because I think that at this time, in this time of COVID-19 and social distancing and so much uncertainty, and honestly, the collective trauma that we are all experiencing, many of us may think, dating should be the last thing on your mind. However, it's actually a very important thing to make sure that you are continuing to connect with others. We are wired, particularly during a time like this, to need to belong, to feel a sense of belongingness and a sense of love from others. And so whether or not that's family, that's friends, or that's a romantic partner or wish for a romantic partner, it makes so much sense that that you still want that and you still desire that.
Thank you. That's an excellent point. But what is the point of dating when you're not sure if you're going to be able to see that person physically and don't know when to? Is this a good time to even consider dating apps?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. From what I've looked at, apparently the dating apps are blowing up right now, and there are a couple of dating apps that are new. Quarantine Together, I have no stock, but Quarantine Together, there's that Dating at a Distance or something. So there are quite a lot of dating apps that are just exploding. And, to answer your question in terms of, is this a good time? If you were dating and that's what you wanted in your life prior, or now, why not? Why not? I ask us all to hold space in our lives for that aspect of our lives. We're, like you said, we're parenting, we're working from home. Those of us who are privileged enough to work from home. So to explore love at a time like this is absolutely okay. And I think in terms of the expectation of, does it, I don't know when I'm going to see this person. That makes a lot of sense, but it also allows you time to slow down in your relationship. I think sometimes we're very quick in our relationships. We're quick to get to know each other and to hang out and maybe engage in a physical kind of relationship. And so this is forcing us to slow down and connect in ways that perhaps we wouldn't have connected in prior, because we can't see each other. So we have to be creative about how we interact with one another and how we get to know one another.
And what would you advise? What is some of the work that a person who is single, who hasn't done and explored dating apps before, and thought that this year would be the year that they would want to go into another relationship, whether it's a dating app or not? How does a person prepare themselves, during this time to consider dating?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I think in terms of exploring the world of dating apps, or even if that's not your thing, I've seen virtual speed dating on Zoom meetings, and different organizations that have singles as a focus of their group having meetups on Zoom and other platforms. And I think that if you've been exploring the idea of dating, but you haven't started perhaps, or you just haven't found that one, that what a great time to be able to date without great expectations of meeting someone in a place that maybe you're unfamiliar with. Um, you're on the phone or you're on video chat. You're probably a lot more relaxed, and you can do things together on the phone or on video chat. So you can have a date where you're cooking dinner together, and so you find, oh, you cook Thai food. Oh, I cook Spanish food. Oh, what do you use? As opposed to the typical, 20 questions, what do you do? And how many children do you want? And where do you want to live? And all these things that sometimes we do when we're initially dating. And so it's a great time, I think, if you're ready to explore dating without perhaps some of the pressure of meeting in person.
Okay, those are excellent ideas. What about knowing how to distinguish between, is this a temporary filler because of, you're reaching out because you're bored, or someone's reaching out to you because they're bored? And I've heard this term Corona Bay, like, how do you know if it's for real?
Right. The Corona Bay. Emotions are high right now. Emotions are just high. From the range of being frustrated and angry and sad to, wanting to connect. And this idea of Corona Bay, or having somebody that, okay, well, if we're stuck, maybe I'll entertain this person online, or entertain that person. I think we have to be mindful. We have to establish some expectations. I think that we need to make sure that we don't think we're going to come out of this pandemic and dating somebody online engaged and married. Although I've heard some things about people getting together because they didn't want to be separate after only a couple dates. So, be interesting to see how that pans out, but it definitely can test the relationship. So, yeah, I think you have to go with what makes sense for you.
Mm-hmm. True, very true. And how do you work with clients to making those decisions, helping them to guide, to be able to reach their goals, and to think out the process of deciding whether or not they want to move in with someone because of this, crisis that we're in.
Yeah, I fortunately have not had to talk with anyone about doing that necessarily, but yeah, moving in with someone because of the pandemic, I think could be amazingly challenging. Someone that you don't know, but it could be amazingly rewarding because you are in a situation where you do kind of have to figure it out. And so I think that even couples who have been together, and then this is coming up, maybe they have a relationship that has been, established, and then they decide, okay, we're about to quarantine, or we're about to, self-isolate, let's move in together. Again, communication, maintaining a certain schedule, making sure that you are recognizing that we are in a very abnormal place right now in our society, and that the normal kind of responses to stress are going to vary. And so being able to just navigate that with someone else, like understanding you and understanding how you're responding, and then also understanding somebody else who you may not know very well during this time, that could be quite stressful. But
The sound went out.
uh-oh.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
we don't have our segment producer, Brandon Gillespie. He will be back next week. So please ask any questions if you are viewing this live and have any comments or questions you would like to ask Ms. Samuel or myself. So let's talk about return to the exes. Those chats, your phone is now ringing with some calls from exes. You know, what to do? How to help, someone, again, decide whether or not they should, answer the call.
Yeah, I think that's another great question. As I said initially, it makes sense that we want to connect with people. We want to connect with familiar people, and people who have given us a sense of comfort in the past. But what does that mean in terms of what does that look like? I would ask a client, what happened? Why are you not together now? Is that still an issue? Is that still a thing? This pandemic is causing people definitely to become, or can help us to become more self-aware, and to recognize the importance of connecting with others. But is it going to change someone's complete personality? Is it going to make all of the things that caused the breakup in the past go away? Not necessarily. And so you have to, figure out, like, what are the expectations? We're stuck. We're at home. We may be bored. What is the expectation if we start talking again? And what are the boundaries that I think are really important that you have to establish for yourself? What is it that you want in any dating relationship, pandemic or not? And what is this person bringing? But again, I just ask for everyone to find things that bring them love at this time, because there is so much going on, and to have some grace with yourself and with others.
Thank you for that information. And besides dating, what are some of the things that a single person could do at this time, other than considering dating? What is it? Is it a good time to pick up a hobby, or, what are some ideas that you would share?
I think I've seen a lot of memes about, we have all this time, so now's the time to write a book and start a business and write that grant and, lose that 20 pounds because now you don't have an excuse. And for many people, that makes sense. And that's part of their coping. For many people, we're just trying to take it day by day and understand what's going on and get up and get dressed and choose one thing that we need to do that day and get that done. And so again, back to being, kind and loving to yourself. But I mean, the first thing I would say is engage your senses, engage all of your senses. So outside of, back up a little bit, outside of, getting up, bathing and getting dressed, it's so easy to want to, stay in house clothes and so forth all day, but that's typically not a good thing to do, especially long term. And then engage your senses. If that means, if you're a cook, cook, and cook the things that you love to cook. Play the music that you love to play. I'm amazed at how clever people have been with the way that they're connecting through Zoom, with video chats, with my sister was just telling me about someone who had a birthday party on a video chat, and she asked everyone to like dress up, and really it was a party. Like, you're gonna dress up and it's a party online. So I'm just amazed at how clever people are being with happy hours and different ways of connecting with one another socially. But then when we're not online chatting with friends, move your body. And that doesn't mean you got to take every single yoga class, every single whatever, but playing that music that you love and dancing around the house, so important. cooking and eating some good food, so important. Engaging in self-care, so important. And whatever that means for you, whether that means taking a hot bath or doing your hair and nails or whatever that means for you. So much, so important to engage in self-care and not sit in front of the news all day. It's so dangerous.
Yes, yes. Being overwhelmed with information that is changing by the minute or being very repetitive can really be a drain on a person. So we had some questions that came in, and we want to thank the viewers. Teresa is asking, would you suggest working on yourself during this pandemic versus trying to date? Or would you suggest trying to date?
I think that's a great question. And I think that honestly can only be answered by the person. It's a great time to work on self. It's also a great time to continue to try to connect with people. It's up to you and what makes you feel good. I would just say definitely don't isolate. So even if you're not dating, making sure that you're connecting with your friends, you're connecting with your social network, your family, whoever it is that brings you joy. Hold space for that. So, in the beginning, I said just hold space for love, whatever that looks like. So self-love, absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you. Kim is asking, what can married people do to support their single friends during this time?
Great question. Great question. Check on them. Check on them, call them, set up times to, connect with them, because it's different if, people talk about being introverted or extroverted and, oh, the introverts must be loving this. Well, perhaps, but there's something about an imposed isolation, which is what we are being asked to do. This is being imposed upon us. You're not supposed to go anywhere. Not, oh, I'm just chilling at home on a couch, Netflix, and chill with myself. But it's being imposed upon us. And so that can be very, very challenging. So I say, check on your friends, call your friends, set up video chats, do happy hours, do brunch. I love the funny memes. I've been sending a lot of funny memes throughout the day. I've been getting a lot of funny memes throughout the day from my friends and family. Something to just, a little chuckle during the day that definitely can help. But check on your friends. Yeah.
Very, very true. How do you fill your day? Because unfortunately, some individuals that lost their jobs are now unemployed. So they're finding themselves with a lot more time on their hands than they're used to.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you fill your day?
Mm-hmm. I think it depends on, what brings you joy. Definitely don't fill your day, and as I said before, definitely don't fill your day in front of the news, or even, reading articles, and going down the rabbit hole that could be, well, why did this happen? And who really started it? And, it's easy to fill your day with that kind of information, and that's not necessarily helpful. And so when we think about having all of this time, does it mean that you start to look at some of those things that you've been putting off for however long? So does it mean you pick up that book that's been sitting on your shelf for a while, or you download something that you've been wanting to listen to or to read? Does it mean that, you haven't pulled out your art set in a couple years, but you know what, I need to get back to drawing or painting, journaling, just like the other person asked about working on self. Journaling is a powerful thing to do. Movement, without a doubt. Please get outside. I know we're not supposed to be within 6 feet of people and so forth, but if you can step on your porch, your balcony, your backyard, sun, outside, fresh air, so important. But yeah, just try not to do it in front of the television, at least not in front of news.
Now, many people are feeling depressed during this time. At what point should they contact a therapist? This is an excellent question again by Kim. When do you know you need to, reach out and find a therapist?
Right, right. So I would definitely say, I think, like at the MECCA Group, we were on it. Y'all were on it with the telehealth immediately. Thank you, thank you. And I think most psychologists, therapists, clinical social workers are offering telehealth sessions. And so if you already have a therapist, please, continue to see that person, hopefully, via telehealth. If you had a therapist in the past, and you are feeling like more of your day than not is just sad, and you're not finding pleasure in things, you are feeling like you're feeling overwhelmed, it's time to connect. It's time to connect. And like I said in the beginning, this is an abnormal, weird time. And so we're all feeling a sense of, whoa, what is this? And so reaching out to the various methods of telehealth therapy. If you feel like you need to see a therapist, you need to see a therapist. Maybe I should have just said it like that. You feel like you need to see somebody, it's okay. See somebody. See somebody. Absolutely.
And one thing that I always try to reiterate to people is that seeking a therapist is not about there's something wrong with you.
Absolutely.
It's not about you're having mental health issues. Right. It's about having to deal with an adjustment, a transition, a change, trying to make a decision for your life that you don't necessarily want to just discuss it with your family and friends because of their biased view on it, but having someone who is unbiased, unjudgmental, is open, and they have your undivided attention to be available for you, to just share and be open with, and to be vulnerable with. And I think that is what I encourage people, to seek therapy, is just to talk to someone, in time of, need or transition. And we're all going through a transition. And this is certainly a time of adjustment, and for some, harder than others. We have another question regarding extroverts. There's many memes out there that this might be an easier transition for introverts than extroverts, but what do you suggest the extroverts do today to stay sane while being quarantined?
It's tough. I know it's so tough. Like I said, I am amazed as I look at all the options for connecting with people, even though it's not face to face, just connecting with people virtually. There have been so many parties and virtual gatherings, staying connected with people via phone. I mean, it's challenging. Honestly, it's just very challenging when you are used to being out. And so you have to get extremely creative. You have to get extremely creative with how you connect with people. But I definitely urge you not to go, well, that person doesn't look sick, or they're young, they're okay, I'm gonna just slip by their house real quick. Definitely say, leave it up to the experts in terms of them letting us know when we can start to reach out again. But yeah, tough. So many ways to connect virtually, though, with the parties and gatherings.
Yeah. And as you said, also, we're supposed to not be in social settings, but you could sit outside, on your front porch, or whether it's your deck or your patio, and still, be out, especially out of close quarters in terms of your home. If you're in an apartment, or you're in a studio apartment, or you're in your house, certainly letting the sunshine in. The only reason my curtains are closed right now is because of the interview. But other than that, that's the first thing I do in the morning. is I open up the curtains and I let the sunshine in, because of the fact that that feeling of depression and, anxiety can, come over you, especially if you have the news on in the morning and you're in a dark, spot place and you're in your home, let the sunshine in. And, and certainly music. I certainly agree with the music, and Saeed is certainly one to speak about music and the music that he is, just shares with everyone. So I am a strong advocate for music at this time,
Yeah, definitely.
So
and there's another, well, I was just going to say, there's another app that I recently heard about that's called House Party, I believe, and you can do trivia nights. So again, so many creative ways to interact safely. Yeah.
And what are 3 tips that you have for the single then sheltered? There were so many key things that you said that I can point out, especially that, what's one goal, setting one goal, a day for yourself and not becoming overwhelmed with a list of things that we normally do. But what are some tips that you would say as we're nearing to close out the session? And if anyone else has any questions, please, this is the time to just, ask your question or make a comment.
Yeah, definitely. For everyone, get up and shower and get dressed every day. That's it changes. It can change, just how you're feeling. The sunshine, absolutely. And that really speaks to the importance, I think, in terms of engaging our senses. You spoke about, Dr. Ebanks, you spoke about depression and anxiety. And for those of us who struggle with depression and anxiety anyway, this isolation can further exacerbate those emotions and that mood. And so being really mindful of utilizing all the tools in your toolbox that you have learned that are helpful to you. So, if that's mindful meditation, just being aware, like, this is how I'm feeling, and that's okay. I'm aware of it, and it's okay. It's a human emotion, and not necessarily fighting, feelings. Finding distractions if you find that it's overwhelming. And then just, again, kind of just engaging the senses, making sure that you are listening to, touching, smelling, things that comfort you. I think everything should be about comfort right now. Not overindulgence, but, definitely comforting.
Oh, excellent. Good. Great tips. So now that we're going to, close out the session, we want to thank you again. Personally, Monica, I would like to thank you for being such a devoted and dedicated member of the MECCA family. We're more than just the team. You've been longstanding with us, so we definitely appreciate all the service that you do for us. And we have other excellent providers like Monica on our team. So please view our website at the MECCA Group LLC.com as well. Give us a call, 202-529-3117. We are available to ask a question, provide a referral, provide any assistance that you may need during this time. We do have telehealth therapy. We provide them in Spanish as well. And even if this information may not be for you, share it, because one of your friends this might be useful. So we welcome you to share the MECCA Group Facebook Live segment with your family and friends. Thank you again. Monica, any last words?
Thank you so much for having me. The last thing I'd like to say is that I just ask for everyone to honor themselves, remain patient and gentle with themselves, and I wish everyone safety and wellness. Excellent. Thank you so much.
Excellent. So we'll see everyone next week on Facebook Live at 2 p.m. for another topic.